Focus your elbows. Jesus. Jesus. It's on fire now.
This is just
So interesting. I get to this.
okay, super. So welcome to the pod. You're my first official guest. Surprise. But anyway, the podcast is about branding and marketing. As you guys know, I'm super into branding and marketing. Been in there for over 10 years. But I realized that when we talk about branding and marketing in Nigeria, a lot of people get it wrong and they sort of treat the two as one. And even when they do, they don't necessarily execute it properly. So this podcast is going to be a bit of me, part ethical, part joker, part I don't know, cruise, right? But I want it to be chill, but I want everyone to get something from it. But before we even get there, I'm going to do a quick fire round and I'm going to call different brands and you tell me what comes to mind. Not more than 2 words, right? Okay. Primark.
Affordable. Chip and chip.
Affordable clothing.
Cheap.
Cheap and cheap. Top shop. Trendy clothing for young people.
Yeah.
Trendy clothing. Dirty.
High-end.
Edgy. Chanel.
Super high-end. Plus.
Classic.
Classy. Classic.
All right.
Lewis Hamilton as a today. No, yeah. Italian stallion. Yeah. Speedboats.
Good. Jesus. If I say Heineken,
The champion.
I love it.
I'm Folawe Omekule. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm born and raised in Nigeria and Benin Republic, and I'm very excited to be here. Super.
I'm going to warm you up a little bit. I'm going to call out a couple of names and I want you to tell me what comes to mind. Primark.
Clothes, shopping, cheap.
Zara.
I love Zara. Clothes too, shopping. Absolutely love Zara.
Okay. What should I say? Boss.
Water.
So if I say Primark, you said cheap. I
Yeah.
say Zara. If I say
Okay.
trendy,
Okay. Luxury.
okay. Turns out.
Durable.
Right.
Luxury fast.
Follow.
Hmm. So interesting. Whew. Well, it depends.
Hi.
Um, a force, powerful, impactful. Um, mm, confident. Light force.
Yes, very purposeful as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is branding to you? Hmm. I think branding is how people perceive something, right? How people perceive a product, a person, an individual. It's the message. It's what they feel, what they sense when they see whether it's a product or whether it's an individual. So it's that thing that might not necessarily be directly spoken, but you get it. Like you get something, and sometimes like a lot of people feel the same thing, or it resonates. Like that same thing resonates with a lot of people. Sometimes it might be different things, but I think brand might just be
How you present
how
it.
you present yourself. Super.
And what's marketing?
Well, marketing, I guess, will then be what you do, or should be what you do to put your to put your brand out there, right? To get your brand, to get people to connect with your brand, or to get people to connect with with your product or with you, or it's the science, it's the thing you do, it's the activity you do to put your brand out there.
So I've known for life for the longest time. And I would like to know, in your opinion, if your brand you describe now as quiet, confident, purposeful, impactful, do you think your brand has changed over time? Do you think it has evolved? If people are describing you as at the time we were in secondary school and people are describing you now?
Absolutely. In fact, like some days ago, I was with like some of my childhood friends, and like I'd not seen one of the person that was also in the group in a very long time, and so he walked into the room and he talked about how my sister and my brother were like really generous and kind-hearted, like growing up. And then he didn't say anything about me, and I was like, I don't recognize like these attributes, about these siblings of mine, and then one person said, actually, Fala, you were so quiet, you hardly talked, you were very, and I was just like, who are you describing, right? So when I think about my brand and just like who, how I've evolved, I do think that I have, I've gone through different phases and seasons. And so I'm not sure that who I am. Of course, I'm certain that who I am today and what my brand is, isn't what it was like 5, 10 years ago. But I do think that, I think at the core of who I am, I do think that elements of what I've described to you, were there.
100%.
Yes,
Which is why I'm really want to talk about it. I feel like your brand, when we met, is very similar to your brand now. It's just that as life happens and you go through different things, I feel like you found your purpose and then you started to amplify what already was through that purpose. So I feel like that's all that happened, because I didn't start in just one post. I came with that post hours of everybody that came with that. To me, was one of the only people that stood out. Right, she didn't talk a lot, but when she spoke, impact. Right, like people took her seriously. She wasn't treated like one of the new kids. We make life very difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. And then there was a time that Folawe had a falling out with like maybe the bully of the set, and then the person wanted to try somebody that's meant to be quiet. I felt immediately pressing back down. Do you understand? You can't tell me that that's not quiet impact and all of those things. But when you found your passion in education, I remember when you started, and you actually went from the ground up, right? And you took your time, which is something I would also describe your brand as thorough, right? I think whatever it is that you're doing, you commit to it, and that's why I said purposeful as part of your brand, right? And I feel like even when people see like your posture, even the way you speak about things, the way you market yourself as well, I think that's what you're good at now. Maybe those things were there, and for whatever reason, maybe we were closer, so I could see those things in secondary school. But now you definitely market yourself, and you're at tables that maybe you wouldn't have been at previously, so it's louder now. But 100%, I think same thing, just evolved over time. It's fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
Alrighty.
This was really good to hear you share.
Yeah.
I don't think you hear this often where someone talks about you. Not the most comfortable thing, but thank you. I really
it's not
appreciate
comfortable.
it. No, not all the time.
Not the time.
Yes.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the brand whisperer? Any message for the brand whisperer? Tell us.
No, I think this is like I just think it's first the name I find really interesting, and I like the idea that it's whispering. Like it's like, it's like we're branding, but like we're whispering. Like, because I also struggle with branding. Like sometimes like I just feel like, just do and your work will speak for itself. And I remember, it was in business school, Lagos Business School. I remember very much going through a program, and one of the things that I took away from there was like, no, your good work wouldn't speak for you.
Absolutely.
Like you need to absolutely talk about it. You need to put it out there. Like no one is going to know.
100%.
So when I hear, and so I struggle with like really branding and putting out stuff. But then there's something with like this name that makes me feel like you're not like just putting stuff out, like you're
Absolutely.
whispering. So something, there's a level of confidence. I find that a lot of people actually struggle with like just like putting stuff. It's like, let me just be doing what I'm doing, let me just
Yeah.
be. And but like this is like drawing one in, like, you know, we can whisper
Yes.
and say, okay, actually maybe we could do that. So that's what I see.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
I see the brand and I see the logo.
And that's why
Yeah.
I've very deliberately separated branding from marketing. Because part of building a healthy brand is salience. You can be the most perfect person, right? That I need for the most perfect job. And I just cannot match A and B because I don't know you exist. That's why I need to speak on what it is that you do. That's why a lot of times people are feeling some certain type of way because they feel I do much more than this person and he's being promoted, why is he being promoted? But you're not marketing. So branding is the one side of thing. It's creating that healthy brand. But marketing is then the vehicle that you use to get that out. And you're right, you don't have to shout. There are a lot of people that talk too much. You need to improve on silence, right? Because every decision you make is a branding decision. Because like I said, branding and marketing overlap and they work hand in hand. But indeed they're very separate things, but they feed into each other.
Absolutely.
So yeah, marketing, branding, that's what we're going to be doing. And yes, indeed, to make it more comfortable for people that don't understand it to get there. Right?
Yeah. You're still needed in the
I
market
love it.
for sure. I'm sure you're going to find hundreds, thousands of people and organizations that will need your expertise and so yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Congratulations in advance and thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me. Really enjoyed chatting with you.
You're coming back when I do
Okay.
educational
Okay. Would love to. Would love to.
All right.
Well, I believe that branding,
Oh my God.
according to the Oxford Dictionary, intro,
So what's branding?
taking a cat, trying to catch a cat, give it a shower and making the cat feel
Carry on the front.
feel like it was the cat's idea all along.
Okay. Identify the photo.
The perception is
Okay.
yeah.
Creating the identity.
Your identity.
Branding is identity now.
Okay.
For me, it's just identity. Being able to say this is who this person is.
The process to actually create an identity for a product or service or company. Branding is how people experience you. Killing us too. Yeah, I mean, like, what expo. Branding is, I guess, yes, how people perceive you, but also how you want people to perceive you, right? So, it's super chill.
So you can adjust the mics to how you want it to be.
Of course. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you. Cass is one of my things. We're so hectic and fighting into together. Side of things.
My left brain is completely dead. And I think it's very intentional because for years being in corporate world, like more or less
Years.
17 years. Usually, like if I kill someone, I kill it dead.
You commit.
I feel up and down. I'm killing it daily. So when you ask me what is branding, my brain is fried. Like I just think,
What kind of what your brand is now versus what it
I
was?
don't even know. I'm just literally like a blank, like
Canvas.
oh, really? Blank slate, blank canvas, and I would say I don't want to use the word then to definitions or it's almost like allowing things to evolve naturally. So for example, typically when people even ask me what you do, it's even very burdensome to say, oh, you know, I'm an artist. It's just like, you know what, I just don't do anything. I'm just like whatever. Like, in my free time, which is all the time things. So I'm probably also trying to understand like transitionally confident way to saying that I'm an artist. And for me, it almost feels like there's no credibility if I haven't had like, my first show. I just said May 3rd, come May 3rd, then I'll tell people that I'm an artist because there's some substance backing up. Where it's like, oh, have you done any shows?
Yeah. But I feel like what you're doing now is, even without realizing it, you're creating your new brand, right? And I understand what you say when you're like, if there's nothing to like stand on for now, besides your passion for painting and art. And I mean, even when in Nigerian race, in meetings, and I'm scribbling and drawing, and it doesn't look like no stick figure that I mean, I'm an artist. Maybe all those times to be like death to the corporate world. Yes, death. If you see what I'm doing one time, and but leave that. There's another them. No, but I love it. Even if you haven't put it in one sentence, I feel like you've started describing what your new brand is. I feel like your look has always been quite different, and now it makes sense for the space that you're entering. I feel like you also have hair, honestly. Obviously, much more. So you're a little bit scary, but I'm already scared because I'm somehow scared. But I was scary. What do you mean I was scary? I was scared. Nice. Let me not call anybody's name. Yeah. No, I was formidable. Yes. With a touch of insanity. That's our brand. That's his previous brand. Let's see what the new one is going to be. Okay. And then you said you had to make up your marketing brain because you have something coming up. Well, so it's kind of like I know that I would have to wake it up, but not now. So it's lying in wait. It's like, okay, fine. I need to get all the creativity out. And then once that's done, because I really currently am incapable of switching left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. Because once I go into left brain, then I probably going to paint. It's like my energy will just shift. So I've decided to just keep that dead for now. And I'm really not looking forward to when I have to, bring it out because typically I found that I can't even do marketing for myself. It's almost like I've done it extensively for different brands, consulting for people, etc. But then when I had to apply it to myself, it was just like a deer caught in the headlights. It's like, oh goodness, I had to do this. Literally like that. So brand was for it took a whole year. Because I had been talking about the brand while I introduced my Instagram page. In fact, I thought about the brand whisper concept in lockdown. Because I feel like when you're working in like that corporate space, especially the kind of competitive companies that we worked in, you never really had a chance to come up for air. And I feel like lockdown, that was when I really thought, is this all I'm really want? Look, okay, I'm not getting younger. I'm just here. I'm not entirely sure that I'm happy. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. Um, and people didn't understand what the problem was because that was when I was winning all these awards from Global and all of these things. So to people outside, it looked like I was on it, but in my head, I was just thinking there surely has to be something else. But with every conversation I had with myself, we kept coming back to branding and marketing and the conversations. Actually, my friend said, why don't you just do this consulting? It's in the living room. Interesting enough, she's not in consulting space, but we're that's different. So I registered the brand whisper then, and that's when I started thinking if things don't change, I gave myself time because typically I'm not patient, but I gave myself time and I was just thinking, okay, let's see how it goes. And I wanted to do one last big thing on Heineken, which was the trophy talk. Yes. Um After that I was ready to go. I felt like if nothing came up, I was going to go. But I registered the brand was trying my mind. I was like, you know, typically when I'm working on brands, they always put me on problem brands, which was something I realized in Heineken. And then I'll work on it. The numbers improve, everything is steady. Then they move into another problem brand. I enjoyed it, but I realized, okay, what I'm doing is creating healthy brands from problematic brands. Why don't I do it elsewhere? But like I said during my own conversation, I feel like in the corporate world, they understand the importance of branding and marketing. I feel like entrepreneurs, not so much. They understand, yeah. So we're wishing you all the best with your artsy movement and your transition from portfolio to passion. Like I said, you're glowing. You seem much happier when you're ready. Chelsea Brothers, but I want to chop your money. So yeah, message from the brand as well. Fantastic job. I like the name. It's Chinwe. Come let her whisper some amazing things to your brand. But I think it's fantastic, and the concept of taking marketing strategy and executing it in ways that are beneficial, especially considering the bottom line of your clients. Because, like you said, entrepreneurs don't
really see the value of marketing. Of course, they're thinking profits, bottom line, ROI, and when you look at marketing strategy, when you look at branding, at the end of the day, there's different things that could be termed value, not necessarily immediate return on investment. So when you're talking about brand equity, you're looking at like longer term benefits as opposed to driving sales, driving volume. So a lot of people tend to conflate marketing and sales. And with the approach that you're using, whereas you're looking at strategy, scenario planning, contingency planning, all that stuff, and taking the overall goal of what the company or brand is trying to be, and then using that approach, I think it's fantastic. As opposed to being in Nigeria, a lot of people really don't know what marketing is supposed to be, especially people in entrepreneurs. Absolutely. So I think what you're is different. I would say, I don't want to use the word softer approach, but a more relatable approach. It's kind of break down those barriers of understanding, where it's okay, marketing isn't something that requires huge budget, but then you need to put aside some budget if you really need to something. I'll give it time. So the brand is Whisper is fantastic. I think I'm proud of you. We love it. I have hope. And come out whisper for the arts brand.
I shall. Thanks, Hansi.
I really don't like to pigeonhole myself.
Social butterfly. Social warm open. Yes. Basically said it. Yeah. Okay. Funny.
Happy, lovely, fitness and wellness, artist, visual storyteller.
My brand is fun. That's very funny because a real life brand
About me.
is
Talk about you.
yes, your real life brand, you're a nerd, but he likes to have fun. But I'm not a nerd. I'm fun. I'm a fun, relatable entrepreneur. So that's what makes you relatable because you're fun. Yes.
My brand. My brand. And to describe my brand, so definitely a nerd, mysterious, a bit eclectic,
Yeah.
and easygoing.
Yeah. Free spirited too.
That.
Okay. Now what's marketing?
Oh my god.
Wow. I said I was in marketing.
Exactly. I was waiting for it.
So Nana, marketing specialist.
Love that.
I did. Marketing has a lot of hats. Marketing is it's pretty much how you sell your products. Um, I would say how take the features of your product and try and get consumers to buy into what it is that you're selling. Marketing is bringing your product out.
How you promote your services or your products. Marketing is selling that identity. I love it.
That's a spoiler. Wow.
I would like to believe that.
I would have said it's just the mechanics of people getting to recognize your brand, or at least be sure who your brand is. And so that's the marketing part.
And it's always brand led. Yeah. And I know you both described your brands. Do you think your brand when you first met ages ago is the same as your brand now? So do you think it has evolved? Do you think you've completely changed? Chat about it. I think I've remained the same. I've always been fun. I've always been. I think I've always been the same. As my brand changed. I met you when what? How old? Okay, actually, I met you when I was, I think 14. No. Yes. Yeah.
What do you
I met
mean?
Eleanor when I was 14. You were not 14. Oh, yeah,
Yes, we were.
Yeah, I met her when I was 14. So, yeah, I've been the fun, playful, Ife since then. I haven't changed.
No, I don't think I've changed. And to be fair, you haven't changed. You're older now, but and not in a bad way, just more mature.
More mature.
I think
Actually,
underneath it all, you're definitely the same person.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't changed.
Yeah, Elma has been the same, fickle from the jump, unassuming, mysterious.
Where did you?
See, I trying from weird to mysterious. I feel like in general we got to a point where Depending on your manifestation of weird, it can now be mysterious and attractive as opposed to.
It's fine. I got it.
So take 2, 3, 2, 1. Hi, who are you?
I am Shimmer Dragon and I am the brand whisperer.